Hi, my name is Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the latest disconnect between the UK and the EU with regards a no-deal Brexit and how it will mean different things in the UK as compared to the EU. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So the Brexit talks for a free trade agreement effectively ended last Friday. Both teams were told by their bosses to piss about for another couple of days, with each side hoping the other would back down. There was a phone call between the British Prime Minister and the EU Commission President where nothing was agreed, other than that they both agreed that there was no progress, but the process wasn't ended. Then there was the dinner on Wednesday evening where again nothing was agreed, but the process wasn't ended. A deadline for Sunday was announced. Then the EU presented its no-deal Brexit proposals for a time-limited series of agreements that would take the edge off the damage of a cliff-edge no-deal Brexit that is now coming. And so in the highly probable, though I accept not yet absolutely certain event that it's a no-deal Brexit, again from the point of view of a free trade agreement, we're going to see major divergence between what the UK thinks is happening with Brexit and what the EU thinks. Because from the UK perspective, there's a lot of people think that this is like some sort of process with a set end, and the result is either a deal or a no deal scenario, and that's where we go from there. They think that whatever is agreed when the transition period ends is what our relationship with the EU is going to be like. Of course, nothing could be further from the truth. So the UK narrative has always been about deal or no deal in 2020. In the EU, it's different. The recent talks have been about how member states such as France have warned Barnier, for example, not to agree a bad deal just for the sake of meeting the end of the transition period. This has been characterised by the EU saying that no deal is better than a bad deal, in grim parody of Theresa May's ill-fated phrase. But that's not actually the case. Not agreeing a deal this month doesn't mean a no deal as such for the EU. They're used to negotiating real trade deals, not the Mickey Mouse copy-paste deals that the UK has been agreeing with countries with whom we trade relatively small amounts. The EU is, as a result, used to taking years over negotiations, a decade or more if necessary. The rush is entirely down to the UK's made-up timetable. From the point of view of the EU, the UK triggered Article 50 before it knew even what sort of Brexit it wanted. This was foolish. It then left the EU before it had political agreement on what to do next. Again, rushed folly. We are now about to exit the transition period before we are ready. Again, all down to us. You know, in fact, the EU's no-deal proposal that I talked about this morning, there's a little line in it that reminds the UK government that actually you could just extend the transition period. That's available. As far as they're concerned, we can sort that out, no problem. All of this rushing was determined according to a timetable set by the UK. It's not how trade deals work. Trade deals end when both sides are happy with them. That's it. The EU were more than happy for all of these phases to have lasted longer, as long as they needed to. You know, they put no deadlines on the process for us. Every deadline that has ever existed has been created by the UK Prime Minister of the time, currently Boris Johnson. You know, even the 2-year period of the Article 50 process, which is laid down in the treaties, you know, could be extended. We did extend it. We did extend it, and we could have carried on extending it. You know, it was agreed by the EU whenever we set these arbitrary deadlines, but they also agreed that each step could be extended as and when necessary on a fairly consistent basis. From the EU's point of view, they're still working on a deal. They will happily do so for many more years. They will not walk away from the table. They will not say, right, it's a no-deal Brexit, as if that's a thing. You know, all they will ever say is we haven't agreed a deal yet. And they will carry on saying that next year. If the talks are to end, it will be the British side that have to walk away. You know, the EU will keep negotiating either until they agree the deal or the UK decides it doesn't want to carry on talking. It's as simple as that. You know, look how long, for example, they've had on-again, off-again talks with the US. And the US is a huge market for the EU, bigger than the UK. The UK is a big market, let's make no bones about this. The UK trades a lot with the EU, not as much as America. And the EU will remain at the negotiating table with the US for as long as is necessary. They haven't been tempted to rush into something, because they want to make sure that they can get the best deal that they can realistically. And the same from the US side, of course, because that's how the EU does things. This is why we keep having this uncertainty about what happens next and why aren't they announcing that it's a no-deal Brexit. The EU will remain at that table for as long as it takes. It would have preferred to conclude something before the end of the transition period, of course, because its own businesses are going to suffer. Yes, there are some EU businesses that have gained as a result of Brexit, and there are some that have suffered. Of course, on the UK side, it's entirely suffered. There are no businesses that have gained as a result. But that suffering, in the EU doesn't come from not having a deal. Let's be clear here. The cause is that the UK is leaving the customs union and single market. This was a decision made by the UK and implemented by the UK. There's no rule coming into effect regarding anything else. It's all a result of leaving that customs union single market. That's it. The British government keep crying that the EU don't respect our independence, but the EU haven't imposed anything on the UK regarding Brexit. Not a thing. Not one Brexit policy has been decided by the EU and forced onto the UK. Every single aspect of Brexit has been determined by the British Parliament and British government. As far as the EU are concerned, they are negotiating a trade deal, as well as agreements on security and other cooperations as well, scientific research, education, travel, things like that. And it will simply take as long as it takes. And any players within the EU that are currently wanting this done now, because there are some EU member states that are going to be a bit nervous at the moment, of course. But if the transition period ends without a deal and that pain is suffered and that damage is done, then a period after that, they're going to lose that sense of urgency. At the point at which the damage caused by the UK exiting the customs union without a suitable agreement to replace it is done, the need for haste from the EU diminishes, but the need for haste from our point increases. In other words, if we try and negotiate a deal next year, I know the Brexiteers are thinking, oh no, because Boris has said he's not going to do that. He says a lot of things. And it may not be Boris Johnson who's having to do it. It may be his successor. But the UK government is going to have to negotiate with the EU next year. That's a fact. They're going to have to call those talks back. And it will be the British government, whether Johnson or whoever, who are going to have to keep pushing the progress at that point. You can imagine the scenario as the government has to go to the EU. We need a deal quickly, Johnson will exclaim, or whoever follows him. What's that? The EU will say. I imagine at this point they're going to slowly peel an orange. A deal! We need one! We need one right now. What's the rush? They can take years. But we've got rioting. We can't get enough food or medicine. Priti Patel has just deported all our manual workers and now she's looking at our nurses. We don't already have enough nurses. We don't need her deporting the ones we've got. Oh, right, yeah. Maybe they've finished peeling the orange at this point. No, they're taking their time over it. What you want, they'll say, is a deal. Yes, really quickly. Okay, here's one we worked out earlier. Just sign and we'll be in business. But this one is worse than the one you offered last year. Yeah, last year's model's been discontinued. This year's model's a bit different. But we want a deal that's good for us. Oh, you want to negotiate a deal that's good for you. Yes. Those can take years. And it'll be pretty bad for us in the UK either way. We would have done better to agree a deal this year. In fact, if you look at what the EU are now insisting on, it's harsher than what we could have taken at the start of this year. There were certain aspects of the EU deal that we could have arranged to our benefit that are now off the table. The EU know that we are now in a weaker position. They've taken things off the table for us because it's as simple as that. You know, you look at our economies. Our economy is going to... The only advanced economy in the world that's doing worse than ours at the moment is Argentina. That's it. I've mentioned this before. Next year, our economy will lose ground further. It's already lost more ground this year than others, which means that economies that were already ahead of us have stretched further ahead of us. Next year, even further. Economies round about us will just overtake us. Economies behind us will catch up. You know, we put ourselves in a weaker and weaker position. Bear in mind what President-elect Biden has said. He's not interested in trade deals, not just UK trade deals, any trade deals at the moment, because he perceives the US to be in an insufficiently strong position. America is not in a strong enough position. I'm not going to say it's weak, of course it's not weak, but it's not strong enough to get trade deals that are in the best interests of America. So he's just saying, right, we're going to make ourselves more competitive, then we'll be able to demand better terms for us. And that's right. That's a wise way of looking at it. So from our point of view, we're going to be in a weaker position. So we'll be able to demand fewer and fewer beneficial terms for us. You know, we'll be lucky to get away with something that's just a bit better than not having a deal at all. And the more time that passes, the more power we concede to other economies, and the less benefit we get from trade deals with them. It will always be, of course, we wouldn't sign a trade deal that wasn't better than nothing at all. But, you know, the benefits we get will... Our own negotiators said that the Japanese trade deal was 83% for the Japan and 17% for the UK. You know, we're going to see that worsen and worsen. So the deal we are offered in 2021 will be worse than the one we could get now. The one we can get now is already worse than the one we could have got half a year ago. If we're actually dumb enough to refuse a deal in 2021, then the one available in 2022 will be worse still. You know, and so on. So we'll just have to see how things pan out. Of course, until then, I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.